I'm going to show a technique on how to make some finger painted bluebonnets. And you'll notice I said finger paints and not fingers paint because we're only going to use one finger. So first thing we're going to do is set our stem up, and you can use either a green marker or a green oil pastel. In this case, I'm going to show you with a pastel. So I got my paper portrait and not landscape. I want it to be up and down, long-wise, because if it's portrait, it's going to be longer stems for the bluebonnets, and I think that's going to look nicer. So I'm going to start from the bottom and do an upward sweeping motion, not straight up and down, but a little bit angled, kind of like if you think about a flower, it kind of bends a little bit. But I'm going to come up the middle. So watch as I start from the bottom. I'm going to come up and just kind of release the pressure as I go from the top. I'm going to do the same thing over I did that about midway. I'm going to come up with this third one and do a little bit shorter and come up the other direction. So I'm going to come up and shorter. And the third one is going to be on the other side, and I'm going to come in that same outward direction, and I'm going to do it shorter as well. So I'm going to come up and shorter and just kind of let it go. Notice how I just kind of let up, and it made a nice little swooping line there. So now, with a clean finger, I'm going to use just my pointer finger for this one. And I'm going to use it for both colors. So you'll notice I have blue and I have white. I'm going to start with the white, and I'm going to start at the top. So this finger is going to be my petals. So I'm just going to dip my finger in the white. Notice how I'm not getting my whole finger in the white, and I can tap, tap, tap to get rid of any excess white on there, right there. So I'm going to start at the top, and bluebonnet shape is almost like a cone, like a really long cone. So I'm going to start at the top and put a big one at the top there. Add a little more paint, and I'm going to do 2 on either side. I'm going to pick up a little bit more white paint, and I'm going to do 2 on either side again. I can even pick up some paint and go on top of my stem. In fact, I'm going to do 1 in the middle there. And then I'm just going to come down. And then I'm going to kind of let the paint kind of just run out. I'm going to come all the way down with the white. I can come out to the side here. I can pick up some of that paint that kind of ended up on there. And notice how I'm tapping it. If I want my bluebonnet to be a little wider, all I have to do is bring some of those taps a little farther away from the stem. Now here's the fun part. I'm going to come down all the way, a little more white, until I kind of want to stop with the flower. Now with that same finger, I'm going to come in with the blue. I'm going to gently tap some of the blue, and there's still some white in there because it's going to show through. So I'm going to start adding in my blue and just tap. That's going to be the petal. Tap, tap, tap. Notice how the white is starting to pick up, and then I'm going to come up in between, and it's looking really cool when it blends and mixes like that. And I'm going to keep going up. Notice how I haven't tapped on that blue paint since I grabbed some. Now this is looking still a little bit finger painty, so I'm just going to come in here and tap on top and kind of blend it and do some taps. Notice how I'm not rubbing my fingers, I'm poking up and down. I'm really using the shape of my finger to make the bluebonnet petals. Now it's starting to get a little bit more white through here, so I'm going to tap one more time on my blue, and I'm going to bring out more blue petals. Come around and down, and look how cool that is. Got a little too much blue there, got a little too excited. Now I don't want to overwork it because this looks really cool, and I don't want to do too much. So I'm maybe going to do like 3 more taps. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to stop. Because if I start overworking it, it's going to be a murky, muddy mess. Okay, same thing with the other flowers. In fact, I could have started with just the white. That's okay. I'm just kind of getting that blue off my finger, ready for the white. Tapping it in the paint gently. Start at the top, get my tippy top. Notice how there's not a lot of blue at the very top of the bluebonnet. And I do need to kind of refill that white paint more frequently. And I can come here, and I want to be cautious of not going over. And I probably want my middle one to be the biggest. Notice how that's the top. So once I've got that white, I'm going to come over here and do the white on this side, tippy top there. And I'm going to do 2 on either side. 1, 2, 3. So I needed more white paint, so I'm going to just reload my finger. Same finger. Come on down. Keep in the shape of that kind of cone shape there. And I can go down just like that. I see that stem's kind of showing out, so I'm going to kind of add some there. Now, time for the blue. So remember, I'm going to go about midway and start tapping. And as I go up, it blends in. That one wasn't a whole lot of blue, so I'm just going to reload it. I'm going to tap that blue in. And it really gives the illusion of petals. That's what we're going for because we're making bluebonnet flowers. I like how it's turning out. I'm going to add more blue because I want the bottom to be the most blue, so I'm going to really tap into that blue. And I don't really want to touch those flowers, so I'm going to stay off to the side. Oh, it touched, but that's okay. Okay. And then I'm going to come down over here with my blue, start about midway. Start picking up some of that white and coming up because the blend looks really cool. Get a little more blue. Kind of coming up. Notice how I'm just going up and down, straight up. I'm not rubbing. I'm tapping. Oh, that's a nice dark blue. So I'm going to start blending that in. And see how I kind of tap over it? And it starts blending it in. There is no really wrong way to do it. This is all about exploring those colors and seeing how your finger can make really nice petals. Now this looks kind of sad, kind of bland. So what I can come in is make some leaves. So with my, notice how I got all the paint off my finger there. With my petals, what am I saying? With my green, I can come in and make some leaves. Kind of color those in. Kind of make some little leaf shapes that kind of come out and down. And over here, I might have a little leaf shape coming out over here and down. Maybe a leaf kind of comes out. And I'm noticing how much space I have between them. I don't really want to overlap those, so I'm just going to kind of make it come out there. And then this one, make that green stand out a little more. Have some more petals maybe coming down that way. And when this dries, maybe I want to do a little bit thicker green there so you can really see it coming up through the stem. And notice how I'm not coming up into the paint because it's still wet, but I want to come all the way down the paper. And then I have some beautiful finger painted bluebonnets. Now don't touch it until it's dry. So set this on the drying rack and let it dry. So that way it will look really nice when it's dried up. And if you do this on the ombre background, it will look really stunning and it will look really nice.